Hello there. How are ya? I got an itchy nose. Okay, so 5 years ago, I wrote myself an email through this Future Me website, and I got it yesterday, and I thought I'd share it with you. Dear Future Me, wow, 5 years from today. That's crazy to think about. I was going to say, hopefully things will be much different, but that doesn't seem to be in a trusting manner. And I don't know, when I read that back, I'm like, I don't know what I really mean by that, but maybe like I wouldn't really trust that things were going to be drastically different, much different. But anyway, back to the letter. So here you are, married with at least one child and maybe another on the way. You're 41. Shit. You're fucking 41. Maybe there's 2 children already and a third on the way. Maybe you only end up having 1. Maybe you adopt. Wow. Okay. 5 years doesn't feel like it has me aging, but 41 is a kick in the pants. I can't really say why though. I guess I feel like if I'm still here in this apartment, single, childless at 41, well, then that'll be that. But I don't believe it. Anyway, I think within the next 5 years, I will have written a book. I'm working on it now. And I think that could help change single women's lives. It's changing mine anyhow. I also don't know that I fully want to try to predict the next 5 years. You're happy, that's for sure, no matter what. I'm not sure you're still living in Austin. I don't think so. You do come for visits or have a home here as one of the few you have. Your vocation is anything you feel excited to do, including being a wife and mom, but also helping people in the capacity best suited to you at the time. Perhaps getting paid for it, perhaps through charity work. Anyway, you're super in love and thriving in your relationship, and your family is thriving in their own ways. I hope no one has died over these last 5 years. Yikes, morbid. But I guess a possibility? For anyone to die, yes, but for someone you know or your family, I pray everyone is healthy and never suffers. You still have Fran, your sourdough starter. Though if we have to remind ourselves she's the sourdough starter, maybe she's moved on to other people's breads. I'm excited to see where we're at in 5 years. I have a meeting now though, so I have to run. Love you. Well, isn't that a hoot and a half? Because 2 of those things are true. And I don't know if I was like on a manifestation journey of speaking things into existence. Let me tell you, things are so far from where this letter thought I was going to be. In my last video, I alluded to something that, I was going to make a separate video about because it just kind of needed its own thing. And then when I got this letter yesterday, I thought, well, this is a kick in the pants, as is being 41 apparently. And it was kind of the catalyst to be like, okay, you've got to do this. I've kind of been sitting on this for a while because I didn't want to say a lot of ums and I wanted to have my ideas together around all of it. But I don't want to get too far from it happening. And I can't believe that within 5 years, I thought all that was going to happen. There's no marriage. There hasn't even been a date. There's no children. And I will never bear children because I had a hysterectomy at the end of October last year, 2025. So maybe you adopt. I guess I had that partially right, potentially. In the next 5 years, I will have written a book. I did do that. I wrote letters to my future partner and I self-published it. So I did do that. That's cool. And it did change my life. Although curiously, I'd like to go back and read it and see how I feel about everything that I wrote and if I feel the same way now. You don't live in Austin anymore, and I don't. But I don't have any homes there, and I haven't been back for a visit. It's just difficult to do that when you're a caregiver. Let's see. Your vocation is anything you feel excited to do. Some days I'm real jazzed to take care of my dad and hang out with him and be with him. Some days I'm not so jazzed. So that's where we're at with the vocation. You're super in love and thriving in your relationship. I'm not, and that's okay. Family is thriving in their own ways, and we're doing all right. Hope no one has died. We lost my great aunt. And I think, actually my great uncle and my great aunt in that 5 years. Pray everyone is healthy and never suffers. Maybe that's just too much to ask. You still have Fran, your sourdough? I don't have Fran anymore. When I moved back to Connecticut, I, said goodbye to Fran. And anyway, that was that. So really interesting, I guess, that 2 or 3 out of the things I thought that would happen in 5 years have come to pass. And I'll just close my laptop now. And we'll get into the old big H, the old hysterectomy. So actually, no, I need my laptop open for some notables. This is, potentially kind of a helpful thing to share that it could impact someone's life. I get some healing out of it and maybe a couple of jokes as well, because the laughability of the only thing I ever really felt like I was meant to do was to be a mom. And I know that there are so many ways to be a mother and give love and have that be part of my life. It's just that I cannot bear them. And, maybe it's okay that my genetics are not then carried on because what I had was precancerous. My paternal grandmother died from colon cancer, and we think maybe somewhere along the way someone said it might have started as reproductive cancer, and so you just don't want to take those chances. So I have some notes that I took just to think about all the things. The first line I kind of typed out was like, "Hi, my name is Jill. It's nice to meet you. I can't have your babies." So I, always thought that a relationship would lead to a marriage, would lead to family. And again, I know family can look different than biological children. And there's a lot of kids and people in this world who need love, and I have plenty to give. But I'm 41, and you meet someone and it's a pretty important conversation to have right up front, because do you let yourself go on many dates and start dating someone? And maybe it's not a first date conversation, but it probably comes up if you want a family and things of that nature. And yeah, it's a bummer. And I think it makes me sad to think like what my answer is going to be and how I'm going to respond to that. And it also has been very freeing, because I was waiting on all of that to take me out of whatever life I was living, whether or not that was with a job, whether or not it was here. I have always just been waiting. And in my book I had read something from someone just about holding out, right? You're not really waiting, you're holding out. Well, I was holding out, for that to be a part of my life, and the thing that drastically changed my life. And something my therapist talked about was how, either way, Like, there's still work that I have to do either way. I'm still working on healing. Either way, I'm putting myself first. I am creating a life for myself. And either way, the work is the same internally. I'm still having to create the life that I desire. Creating life for me is still in the plan. It just looks different now. And one thing that kind of shocked me, or not shocked me, but it was like, I now really have to take responsibility for creating my life, because I was expecting, hoping, wishing, waiting to meet someone and have that be the catalyst that changed my life. And I feel this awesome responsibility now, and a real desire to create my life. And I think that I know that being a parent is not easy. The journey of pregnancy, trying to get pregnant, motherhood is not easy at all. But for me, that was going to be the easy way out of where my current life was. And doing that would have taken me away from working on myself and focusing on myself, and apparently whatever it is that I'm supposed to contribute to the world that is not around being a parent. And it's like, okay, I finally feel like it's you and me, Jill. Like, and so when I would work on my relationship with myself, it always used to be about my body. And, loving myself was about loving my physical body. But now my relationship with myself is more centered around supporting myself in the things that I hope and dream for. That has now shifted to whatever they need to be. Like, whatever comes to me is, a hope and dream of, more bookshelf episodes or interviewing authors or something. Like, that's on me. And I'm going to support me through that, like through encouragement and, giving myself a pat on the back, or a nice hug. Because I have to shift to that mode of thinking. Of course, I still desire a relationship, and I don't know what my future looks like. And I don't know if I wrote myself any more letters, but I'll tell you, I'm not doing that anymore. Whatever. I had my period, and about 4 days after it ended, I had some spotting, which at 41, you're thinking perimenopause, right? She's all the rage, and actual rage comes with her, but she's a buzz right now, this perimenopause gal. And so, but the spotting lasted for like 10 to 12 days. So that was really weird. And I had pretty regular periods. And so this was really out of the norm for me. And something was up. So I had an appointment. And then I had a mammogram. So I'll also get those annually. And I had one, and then I needed to do a follow-up there with an ultrasound and another mammogram, a little, squeezy-do, to make sure things were okay there. They found like 3 things, but it was like fatty tissue, a lymph node, and it was all good there. So then I had so that's the upper half. Back to the lower half. I had a transvaginal ultrasound to see what was going on. And they found a polyp in there that was about 2 centimeters. And so it was like, oh, she got to come out and we're going to biopsy her or whatever. So, it was like just, a month of appointments, top, bottom, annual, then the annual gynecological visit, and then the additional breast imaging, and then the surgery consult with a gynecological surgeon about the polyp and all of that. And I am so lucky because I have incredible friends, and my sister was able to take time off to help with dad for this as well. And so I'm just a very grateful and lucky person with support to take me to appointments and be there to help me through all of this. So I go for the polypectomy, and they also biopsied some of the rest of the uterus, or the endometrial lining. This was Tuesday. The procedure was done 5 p.m. on a Thursday. I'm feverishly checking my chart and I see the information come in. So of course I'm Googling right away, and it was extensive atypical endometrial hyperplasia complex, precancerous. And in that time from the ultrasound to the polypectomy, the polyp had grown a centimeter. So that all felt like holy shit. So it's precancerous. So then time to go to an oncologist. So yeah, it felt pretty surreal. So I go see the oncologist, and my options are to have the hysterectomy, to just definitely take away any chance that that cancer could form, right? The other option is to get on a hormone and go every 3 months for biopsies to see where we're at. Now that option is for people who, for some people, not saying all people, right? So the option B, to take the hormone and go for biopsies every 3 months, is if you want to preserve fertility. And for me, I didn't think I was, gonna meet Prince Charming the next day and, have a baby. So, and I didn't want cancer, so I said, let's do the hysterectomy. And I am certainly glad I did. And what they do during the procedure, you go with an oncologist, because what they do during the procedure is they do some sort of flash freezing to see if there's any cancer that was coexisting with the precancerous cells, and that would determine whether or not you kept your ovaries. So I didn't have any of that, so I kept my ovaries, so I didn't have to go into menopause right away at 41. So, you still have a cycle, which is kind of weird because you just don't bleed. And, because they took the cervix, the uterus, the fallopian tubes. I think that's all that was in there. And left the ovaries. So you still have a cycle and you have the hormones. And that's the other thing, is the type of precancerous cell changes I had were fueled by estrogen. And so then I had concerns, well, if my body is going to keep producing estrogen, does that risk other cancers forming or precancerous changes happening? And there might be 1 or 2 types of breast cancer that are fed by estrogen. So, just something to keep in mind, but we're okay for now. I think I had expected cancer. I prepared myself mentally, emotionally, what that would look like, how you deal with that, just all the things. Because my brain just goes to worst case scenario, right? Let's play out all these possibilities. And, luckily that wasn't the case. And the biggest complaint I had in recovery was the gas was just terrible. So they went in laparoscopically. So I have, they went in through the belly button, 2 on the side, and 1, just above the pubic line. And the scars are great, so tiny. But yeah, they blow you up with gas or whatever it's called, so that they can get in there and do what they got to do. And so they went in that way, but then they take the uterus out through the vagina. So I don't think I knew that going in, or I wasn't sure, or maybe we did discuss it, but very fascinating, I think. So the scars are looking good, but they fill you up with gas. So then you've got this gas, just kind of there. Sometimes it travels up to the neck area and the shoulder. It's very painful. So that was my biggest complaint in recovery after the surgery. One thing that was kind of funny in immediate recovery was I was feeling pretty solid, pretty stable, like, okay, can I get dressed? Like, can I go? Basically. And the nurse was like, you have to pee before you leave. Nobody told me that. I would have structured my recovery very differently. When I was waking up, I had apple juice, which is like always my go-to in these, recoveries, because it just makes me feel like a kid and it's just delicious. And so had some apple juice, and I would have been consuming liquids on a more regular basis in recovery if I had known I had to pee. So I get this information, and then I'm just like downing liquids. Take a lap, nothing, come back, have tea, some more water, and then I throw up because everything was just sitting there. So that was annoying. And then another nurse was very kind and just, hit the IV drip, and I peed within 10 minutes. A little bit, but don't tell them that. I just wanted to get out of there. Anyway, I know that maybe that was a little disjointed, and that's how life is. It can be a little disjointed. Thank you for watching. Please share this with anyone you think could benefit from hearing it or is going through something similar, and just know that to let them know that they're not alone. And there are so many of us who have been having these experiences of these decisions and health stuff, and also just take care of yourselves. And I know it's not always easy to get to the doctor, and it's really scary for a lot of people. But if you want me to call and make an appointment for you, I will. And if you want me to go with you, I will. You're really important to me, and I want you to take care of yourself, because we need to be there for ourselves and for each other.